Ian Hobson came to us as a jury member of the Rubinstein competition. Shalom, Ian.
Shalom, Arik.
I heard that you are in the process of recording the complete Chopin.
Yes, I have finished it. It's 16 CDs. Worth.
16?
16 CDs.
How
yeah.
many hours of music?
A good 10 recitals, and maybe 12 hours of music. Yeah.
And plus concerti with orchestra.
It includes concerti, the 4 pieces for piano and orchestra, the songs, the chamber music. It's a great journey. I recorded it in Poland over a 10-year period.
10-year period. Yeah. And shall we get here one copy?
Of course. It'd be my pleasure. Yeah.
We would like to start with an etude. The etude, the famous etude in E major, with a fantastic melody. What is it about this melody?
Well, it's known as tristesse, sadness, and it's extremely well known. It's not terribly technically difficult, but the middle section has some rather awkward intervals. We might call them augmented fourths, which are unusual.
You know, I was wondering, La Tristesse, and it is in E major, and actually kind of calm and religious, and what is so sad about it?
I'm not sure. It's just, you know, he wrote the very beginning Vivace,
Yes.
which is a bit strange
Yes.
for something which is a slow melody, basically. But it certainly gets animated in the middle.
Maybe he changed his mind. And I read in one book that once somebody played it for him and he said, "Oh, my poor homeland." Just this one.
Yeah.
Not the minor
Not
preludes.
the revolutionary.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, my poor homeland. Toda rabba. Thank you so much, Ian. That was so sad and so beautiful. The joy to express the sadness.
That's the idea, yes, thank you.
Who is Godowski?
Leopold Godowski, an infamous character of late 19th century, lived well into the 20th century.
And you forgot to say Jewish.
I didn't, not yet. What he did, which was so infamous, was make 53 transcriptions of 26 Chopin etudes. And it's instructive. The one that he left alone, he never touched. And that was Opus 25, number 7.
And that's really hilarious because Chopin etudes are known to be the most difficult, the most challenging. And for Godowski, that was not enough.
It was not enough. And funnily enough, one can say that some of them are easier than the Chopin etudes. In spite of the amount of notes, in spite of the fact that he uses right hand instead of left hand and vice versa, and plays many etudes for left hand, for one hand alone. The Chopin, I mean, this one, there's nothing more difficult than that, where his ignis fatuus transcription, you know, it sounds wonderful, but it's actually a little easier.
Yeah, I remember the first time I heard the Godowski, it was on CDs, and sometimes it sounds like, the piano sounds like 10 orchestras in 20 hands, and sometimes it sounds only like a chamber orchestra in 4 hands, and those are the etudes for the left hand alone.
The etudes for the left hand. But in my opinion, Godowski's secret is that he was the best writer for the left hand alone that I've ever come across. And his secret is the pedaling. The way he uses the pedal and the way he instructs us to use the pedal makes the maximum sonority and clarity as well.
Can you play for us a short segment of his arrangement with 2 hands and then with 1 hand, just to show how the 1 hand...
Well, I'll play you the original Chopin, a little bit of that, so we hear. So you see it's in 4 or 5 voices.
Yeah, only 5 voices.
Yes, and now Godowski gets about 4 voices with 1 hand.
5 fingers. It's so funny. You play the melody, and in the free time you smuggle a bass note.
Yes, that's right.
Just jump very
but
fast.
It's extremely clever writing. This is the important thing about it.
So,
he did that with, I think most of them he did an arrangement for left hand alone. He didn't write anything for right hand alone.
So let's hear this etude by Chopin, La Tristesse, the poor homeland sadness, arranged in a very smart way for the left hand alone. Thank you, Ian. This is so wonderful to hear and to watch. Hear and watch. You came to us as a jury member of the Rubinstein competition, and we have to talk about competitions.
Yes.
Tell us about competitions. How many of them you took as a young boy?
Well, I had what I call a pyramid scheme, which worked out. And in 1977, I was in the first competition, international really, Van Cliburn, and I won 5th prize.
Okay.
And then I went to Leeds competition the next year and won 4th prize. And then in 79 and 80, I won 2nd prize in 3 competitions, including this one here, and the Beethoven competition in Vienna.
This one here, you mean the Rubinstein competition?
The Rubinstein competition.
The Rubinstein
yes.
competition.
I won 2nd prize here. And then the following year, I prevailed, winning 2nd prize in Beethoven, Vienna, and then 1st prize in Leeds.
And may I tell our television viewers how many of those competitions was I privileged to be on the jury? So I judged you how many times? 4
I think
or
the
5?
first time was in Leeds in 78.
Leeds, first Leeds. Then you won what prize?
4th prize.
4th. And then?
2nd prize in Rubinstein here.
Rubinstein, I was here on the jury, okay.
2nd prize in Vienna, Beethoven.
And I remember the Hammerklavier.
That's Hammerklavier.
And I was on the jury, okay.
And then Leeds.
We became almost like a team. And then Leeds, when you won finally 1st prize.
Yes.
I remember how after the competition we were discussing going another time for another competition. You remember this?
Yes, absolutely. After I won Leeds in 78, 4th prize, I was determined I would never do another competition.
Never again.
Never again.
Never again.
But somehow I saw the Rubinstein competition 2 years later, and I thought, that looks, I'd like very much to do that. And I did that. It was a very difficult challenge, but worth it.
I remember that you always loved to play Rachmaninoff. That's amazing. British pianists, they love Rachmaninoff. German pianists, never. But the British pianist, Rachmaninoff.
Well, I was doing this thing called the Licentiate of the Royal Academy of Music. It's like you go through the grades and then you have a diploma, and it's an external thing. And you choose from a list. And I remember it said Rachmaninoff, Kreisler, Liebesfreude. And so I learned this piece and did it. Of course, people in the 60s were very skeptical of this kind of music and said, in fact, the Godowski the same way. You know, they didn't believe that this was true music. But now the tide has turned and everybody plays it.
And so I would love to ask you to play for us a piece by Rachmaninoff, and that's going to be?
The Prelude in D major, Opus 23, number 4.
Beautiful poetic Prelude in D major.
And then perhaps the big B flat, Opus 23, number 2.
Thank you, Ian. That was so poetic, so beautiful, and not so very sad. Kind of, yeah.
A hopeful piece,
Yeah,
with a
hopeful.
long line.
Rachmaninov with a bitter smile.
Yes.
We have to conclude. It's the
I'm
end
sorry.
of our show. I'm sorry. And Russian music sometimes is like a wide trunk of a tree.
Yes.
How do you call it in English, in the proper English?
Well, if you have a wide something, we call it with a large girth.
Okay. Okay.
And certainly this piece has that.
Ian, thanks a lot. We are closing a circle, a cycle almost. You came as a contestant, then you played concerts here, and now you are a jury member.
It's a great pleasure to be back with you. Thank you so much.